Welcome. We are in day 2 of the Orlando ARG Presents Dragon Ball Super. We're going to go into this matchup. We've got Rolando Santiago and Trey Faircloth.
Yep.
Trey playing the same deck he did yesterday, of course, the blue-green Soul Striker Goku. Rolando playing the blue-green Hand Destruction Frieza deck. Very solid deck. I know both these players. I've played against both these players. Very, very, very high-skilled matchup, and I'm actually excited to see this because I don't know who can win. I don't know who's going to win.
Well, we talked a lot about it yesterday, and, like I said, I've been talking really highly about the blue-green Soul Striker Goku deck going into Hartford and also going into this event. I think it's really good in the current meta. I think it does very well against all the good decks, and one of the big reasons why is because it keeps its hand low. But then after you get to, like, the 5 or 6 mark, you accelerate up and start dropping multiple threats. Now, that's really good against almost every deck in the meta, except, as it turns out, Scotch, hand destruction decks.
Yeah, no, and as I said yesterday, Frieza hand destruction is extremely savage.
Yes, yeah. It's not.
It's shifting, yeah. But we're going to go ahead. We see, of course, the standard blue play coming out for Rolando. There you go. The white balance was going in and out.
Looks like the white balance got reset. Okay, so let's get into the game here.
All right, so we have the standard setup here for the blue deck. Double Broly, or double Majin Buu, dropping a green Broly in his energy. We're going to see Trey also matching into a blue-green and dropping the Curious Goku.
Yep, draws him a card. Very good. It's also, he can put a little bit of pressure on Frieza if he likes to. I'm actually surprised Trey didn't attack there. I think it's very good to put a lot of early pressure on Frieza. We talked a lot about that yesterday. Putting a lot of pressure on him allows him to, not get to do all these free plays like he's doing now.
He's going to go ahead and activate his Frieza's ability to activate that hand destruction cell absorption. So, again, just immediately coming in. However, he does have 2 Brolys currently sitting in his energy area. 2 of the, the big Brolys. So it could potentially, that's 2 less handy cards that he's got.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. You have. Only a limited amount of Brolys, as it turns out. But the cool thing about Rolando's deck is that he does run the cell absorption like we just saw. So he has some other ways to discard the hand too, which is really cool. And awaken at the same time, which is very powerful.
And when he's awakened, that cell absorption is a 2-drop.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's pretty
good.
Strong.
Yeah. There's another one.
Discard
2 more there, Trey.
Eating that hand.
Now, luckily, Trey isn't playing the traditional blue-green starter deck Goku. He's actually, not playing Objections main board. I doubt he'll sideboard these in the once we go into game 2, and so he is a little bit stronger against the hand destruction decks because he's not objecting and dumping 2 turns on turn 2.
Exactly, and we do see the Broly come out. Looks like we get a whiff off the Broly search.
I mean, that's like the 3rd or 4th time we've seen that throughout this event.
Absolutely,
Brolys are not showing up in Orlando. They don't like the sun apparently,
and he's just gonna go ahead and pass on that whiff.
Yeah, now it looks like Trey might have a Princess Speed in hand. He does definitely have a Results in hand. So that means next turn, if he doesn't make him discard 2 here, which is pretty unlikely unless he draws, the 3rd Cells Absorption, he'll be able to awaken next turn with 8 energy.
Well, you got to remember, too, Rolando's now at 5 energy. He could play the big Broly if he really wanted to.
No, he could evolve. But actually, no, he can. He has 2 blue up. You have to have 4 green to evolve.
Not into Bio Broly.
Yeah, well,
into Big Broly, you need 3.
Yeah.
Or it's 3, isn't it? Or is it 4?
All right.
But you got to remember, too, Rolando's playing Frieza. Free Sense of Being is a thing.
All right, and there's the Trey. There's Trey Awakening. I'll draw 2 cards. So he's essentially going to fill his hand back up here, gets a Jocko, and it's something else off that Awaken. It's like he's going to attack here probably and draw another card. So I'm putting some pressure on this Frieza. He's been needing to do that for the last couple turns.
He's going to go ahead and bring out the Gohan to go ahead and pop the threat on the board, which is the
Super Saiyan Gotenks. Yeah, that's actually one reason I don't like Super Saiyan Gotenks in hand destruction decks. I feel like it puts you in an awkward position because he doesn't discard your hand, or your opponent's hand, and you don't really want to attack with him because you just give your opponent more cards. And I think that kind of awkwardness kind of showed through in that play. He didn't really attack with it, didn't really get much out of it, and Trey just capitalized with a well-played Gohan.
Trey's going to go ahead and swing it with the critical on the leader, and Rolando's going to take it, bring himself down to 4 life, which means Awakening is now live for Rolando. Passing turn, and we're going to see if Broly comes out. Looking at his hand, it doesn't look like he actually has a Broly in hand currently, so potentially, I'm lying. There's a Broly right there.
There's a big Broly, as it turns out. Not only does he have a Broly, Scotch, he has the biggest Broly in his hand.
The biggest of big Brolys.
Yeah. It's really a shame that Roland's had to put all these Brolys in the and his energy roll, because that's his end game, right? That's how he takes over the game.
Right here. Here comes Bio Broly to go ahead and eat 2 cards from his opponent's hand, leaving Trey with only 1 card in hand.
Only one card in hand. Now, what I expect Trey to do here, especially since he's playing Star Deck Goku, and a good way to combat this hand destruction deck is just not to play any more energy. You have 5 energy. You can play almost all your threats, and just take that extra card each turn without playing your energy, and just try to flood the board. Hand destruction really struggles with trying to clear multiple threats off the board.
Well, he's got to get cards on the board in the first place, and as you said, he does not charge, but he does drop the 5-drop Gotenks. And it looks like Rolando's going to say no Bloodlust.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I'll let you have that guy.
Yeah, you can have your card.
Yeah, draw a card. He's going to attack with his leader, ready 2 more energy. That means he's able to play like maybe a Beerus or even another Gohan out here to clear this threat off the board and have pretty decent board advantage here.
Looks like 3 cards for Trey now.
Looks like he drew another Super Saiyan Gotenks. It's a pretty big deal. This is a card that can get him back in the game very quickly. So he's attacking into Mecha Frieza here, 25,000 double strike, going to get countered. Roland with Rolando, sorry, with a surprising low number of cards in hand as well.
I've got a nickname for Rolando. I call him Rolo. Rolo, it's easier. Rolls more off the tongue. It's quick.
All right, Rolando down to 3 life now. Trey's still setting an 8 life.
The hand advantage is supreme for that hand destruction Broly deck.
Yeah, that results is a big deal against hand destruction. However, if Rolando does get a good run on like the next games, if he goes, Broly into Bio Broly into Big Broly, he can actually take the results out of his hand. So,
Josh.
All right.
Sorry.
All right. So he took 2 cards out of his hand. Didn't quite see what those were.
Can we get a banner right? Block sound? Because I'm pretty sure it's here. Because yesterday we put banners here to block us. That banner went. It was just one of the banners not gonna block sound, though. Well, it'll stop the.
All right, sorry about that, guys. All right, Trey coming in for 10,000. Or, sorry, comboed for 5,000 to block that attack on his Super Saiyan Gotenks. All right, we're only going to play the Dodoria here on his Bio Broly to pick up the 30,000. Try to make sure he's trying to get this Gotenks off the field, which he finally did, which is really important. Like I said, one of the big things that hand destruction really struggles with is board presence. It's really hard for them to get things off the board. And Trey playing out that Gohan we talked about.
Another Gohan.
Yeah.
And there's the Bloodlust. It's going to bring Rolando down to 2 life currently against Trey's 8. Trey hasn't taken any damage. So, realistically, without taking damage, and Rolando's at 2 life now. So, it's one of those situations, if he's going to start attacking, all of his big beaters have double strike. So, eventually, Trey's going to get that hand back. And when Trey gets that hand back is when things get a little, aggressive.
Yep, and there's the Sensu Bean. Luckily, Soul Striker Goku does get plus 5,000 when he has the energy that he has, so he will be able to do 20,000 into 20th here, and still pressure the leader. See what Rolando decides to do here. Probably just going to use this Boo, I would imagine, and he does just that.
Yep, no combo because, well, he didn't have any cards in his hand, and we don't even know what that one card is, but clearly it wasn't something that he wanted to go ahead and waste on a combo.
Right, exactly.
Or an offensive combo, I should say.
Now, again, it may look like Trey's in a rough spot now, facing down 2 double strikers, one 30K, one 20K, but again, remember, Trey is at 8 life. And so, Rolando, there's not really much he can do without giving Trey a bunch of cards back.
He's going to go ahead and charge a yellow energy finally, which tells me Rolando is acknowledging the fact that he now is at 2 life and wants to be sure that his Bloodlust and Crusher Balls are live. So he's going to go ahead and drop a Crusher Ball into the energy, and let's see what he plays. Gohan coming out, can try and deal some critical damage.
Yeah, and this is his answer to, Trey being 8 life. He's like, hey, I know you're at 8 life. I don't want to give you a bunch of cards. I'm just going to ping you away with this critical for a little bit to deny you some of that card advantage. Very smart play by Rolando, and, Trey's really going to feel the pain of that. But he only loses a Boo, which isn't the worst.
To be honest, that results of training earlier is really helping Trey. It's kept him.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Kept him in the game.
It's definitely stabilizing him, sure. Choose a Weezus Corrosion off that.
So he has a negate and looks like a Majin Buu.
Yeah. So we'll expect.
Knowing Trey, he's gonna play that boo now. Try and dig. He needs something right now.
Yeah, he needs something. Really,
Charging the coercion.
we are really surprised to see him, going down to no cards in hand. Now, remember, these players have seen each other's deck lists. They get to see each other's deck list before the match. I don't know if Rolando is playing the General Destruction Beerus, but if he is, it's possible that he just wipes his board next turn. We don't see one in hand, and I really don't know if the deck is running that.
Off memory, I do not believe he is.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little tricky to run in the deck, especially when you're trying like the 3-color deck. But with Frieza's ability to play the yellow cards for free, it is possible that you could sneak it in the deck. It's a little greedy, but possible.
And we know how we feel about greed decks.
All right, there's Prince of Speed. Great card to get him back in the field. We'll see if Cold Ballast comes out. So we see the Cold Ballast come out, stopping Trey from drawing 2 cards off that Prince of Speed. That's 2 Cold Ballasts.
That's a detriment. That's a big deal.
It is a big deal.
He needs those cards right now because Trey's on, pure survival instinct right now, just trying to get something on the board to do some damage. And the Gohan's going to come out and pop that, the Prince of Speed. So it's getting really rough this game. Trey hasn't been able to see many answers, and now we've got 2 Brolys and a Gohan on the board. It's just... That's an intimidating board to look at.
Yeah, I'm surprised Trey didn't decide to use the boo there to survive that attack. I mean, if I'm Trey, I definitely don't want to take a critical hit. All right, going back to his turn.
Captain Logos, we did see the result of training on turn 4, or turn 5.
Yeah. Another Prince of Speed. He's like, do you have that Cold Bloodlust? Yes, I do.
Yes, he does. That's really, really rough. Hitting both of those Prince of Speeds, basically stopping 4 cards being in Trey's hand, giving him the plays that he needs.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. I mean, he's used 2 cards to deny Trey 4 cards. That is a big deal. Especially, again, once you're playing against that hand destruction, it is a big deal.
He needs something right now.
I mean, traditionally, the biggest problem of playing yellow and hand destruction decks, so playing like Ginyu hand destruction, has always been that the yellow energy makes it awkward to get to your bigger threats, though Frieza does fix that. And Rolando goes down to 1 life.
We're going to see the Majin Buu coming out. Trey really just digging.
Yeah.
And we see the Kale, and is that a Gohan?
Yeah.
He's got Gohan Kale in hand?
Kale's actually a terrific pull here. Kale's going to allow him to wipe multiple threats off the board next turn and draw a card.
But you got to remember as well, we've seen the cell absorption. He has Broly's on the board.
I mean, it's definitely possible, since he's played against a hand destruction deck, that those cards get discarded. Yeah, but in the event he makes it to the next turn with those cards in his hand, it can be very powerful.
Yeah, this hand destruction deck is dirty. It's
Yes,
dirty.
it's like I said, it's very good. I mean, the Mecha Frieza, one of the big things that it does, again, like we talked about, is it makes up for the fact that you have to play yellow energy at all. Now, one thing to remember, though, is Roland is at 1 life, and that is actually pretty scary for Roland. Another thing that the hand destruction deck struggles with is being able to combo. It has a bunch of extra cards and high combo value cards in hand. So if Trey gets a little bit of a card a hand, he can actually pressure to win a game here.
I think we're going to see the evolve on the Bio Broly, to be honest. If he has a Broly, Rolando's going to evolve it on top of that Bio Broly.
Well, he has a 1-drop Broly. I don't think he has a 6-drop Broly, so he might use the 1-drop to try to dig. We'll see.
I wish I had looked at the ratios of the Brolys, because then it would make,
I mean, usually it's 4-4-4. You run 4 1-drops,
I want to
4
say
5s,
it is
and 4
4-4 in
6.
this build, too, but hey, I'm the king of not running 4 of, so... Trey's starting to finally get some kind of board presence here. It's not an impressive board presence, in comparison to Rolando's board, but he's getting something, and he's getting somewhere. He's got these cards on the board. There it is. I told you. I knew it was coming. Cell Absorption eat those 2 cards out of Trey's hand, so there's going to be no Kale and no Gohan this turn.
All right, Rolando coming in with 20K. Going to decide maybe to give Trey some cards?
Yep, looks like it. He's going to go ahead and swing into leader with the double strike 20K Bio Broly. And Trey's going to go ahead and take it.
He's going to snap take it.
He needs
Now,
those
what we'll
cards.
probably see Roland do here is probably evolve.
No, it's going to be another absorption.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's the
there's,
evolve.
yeah.
Discard those 2 cards you just drew. I'm going to hit you with this critical.
That's rough.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly what the hand destruction deck wants to do, and Rolando is playing it very, very well. I mean, he's doing exactly what he's supposed to. He has another Cell's Absorption in hand, it looks like. So he actually has the potential to hit with double strike next turn, discard those 2 cards, and then go in for the win. You know, Trey was at 8 life and has not been able to draw 1 card from his from his life. That's actually pretty devastating for Trey. It has to be very frustrating.
It looks like all 4 of the coercions are now gone for Trey too. Because we've seen definitely 3. There's 1 in his energy, 2 in the drop, and I believe there was 1 played earlier.
All right, I'm gonna fix Trey's life. He's at 3.
He's going to Dodoria on the attack for the leader. I think we're going to see a Champa here. He's going all in on a 1 life, or on a single strike damage. We might see a Champa.
I'm saying he has, you know, what he's probably going to do here is he's like, you know what, I'll give you 1 card. You have no cards in hand, I'll give you 1 card. And then I'm going to hit you swing up this 30,000
card out.
I don't think this looks like he'll have a way to get that 1 card out of his hand, but what he can do is try to just end the game with hand advantage at that point. So we'll see what he decides to do here.
And that's the biggest problem with this deck, playing against the Broly.
And Trey sniffing that play out, saying, you know what?
I'm just going to get rid of everything. Just going to get rid of everything. You know, the biggest
take him
problem with
with 1 life here.
this Broly deck is you don't want to go late game with it, because at that point, everything's live. Like, early game is when you're going to have to do the most damage to him. And it looks like we're going to see the concede from Trey.
Like I said, you know, really, really good play by Rolando. Playing the hand destruction deck very well. I mean, it's a deck that I'm very, very familiar with, and he is playing it very well, doing exactly what you need to do. I've seen a lot of players not know when to attack and not know when not to attack with the deck. That's like one of the most important things, and Rolando showing his mastery with that, you know, where he sits back, he's like, I'm not going to attack you yet until I can attack you, make you draw 2 cards, and then immediately discard those 2 cards. It's very devastating.
And, you know, both these players have top contention experience before, so neither one of them are really, like, antsy, nervous. They're both comfortable being in a top 32 situation. Both players, you know, just kind of relaxing. Nobody made any really, really aggressive plays, and game 1 goes to Rolando. So we're going to see if Trey's going to be able to side in some hate for that Broly deck and see if he can pull game 2 out, and then we might possibly go to game 3. But that was a really rough game for Trey. It was a really rough game.
Yeah, and the fortunate thing with Trey is I don't remember seeing that much in his sideboard to be able to deal with this. You know, there's not a whole lot you can do as the Soul Striker Goku deck to really deal with this deck. I mean, again, the deck, its advantage is against like the Ginyu and Cell, you know, meta. The one that, you know, essentially Soul Striker Goku is really good against the Hartford meta, right? And it's changed a lot once we got to Florida. The main thing being the Mecha Frieza. It's just been a very powerful leader. It's opened up a lot of different kind of decks, and hand destruction, you know, isn't a good spot. So, you know, Trey's probably going to struggle a little bit here until we find some way to deal with this hand destruction. And honestly, Rolando didn't have that good of a start.
No, and he just
that's what's
his
scary.
deck's just very consistent.
Right.
Honestly, I think we might see the Pilafs come in for Trey. If the Pilafs come in, he's going to hit the double strikes. That way he doesn't have to deal with taking the extra damage. But at the same time, you know, if those cards get eaten, that's just dead.
Well, I mean, yeah, sure, but you can say that about any card he gets. I mean, the thing I think you have to think about the Pilafs is that, you know, it doesn't do anything for you, right? Like, it shuts off double strike, but it's essentially you just discarding another card, right? Like, you know, you have to have good card quality when playing against hand destruction. You have to make sure every card counts, because sometimes you're only left with 2 cards in hand, so you got to make sure those 2 cards do something to get you back in the game. Now, Prince of Speed is a great card, Kel is a great card. You know, Trey just has to find a way to keep a hand. But honestly, that last game went about about the best case scenario for Trey. You know, Rolando didn't have that good of a starting hand. Trey awakened with 8 life on turn 5 and still got his hand discarded. So if I'm Trey, I'm a little upset. I'm a little rattled.
We got the question what the seeds are. Trey is seed 10, and I believe Rolando is seed 22.
Yeah, actually, guys, sorry. After this match, we'll start putting the seeds by their names instead of their records.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I meant to do that before, but we just didn't have time. We actually started about 10 minutes or 15 minutes earlier than we thought we were starting. So
we hadn't been here that long. It was like, oh, we have a feature match. Okay.
All right.
But we're gonna go ahead and jump into game 2 here. Trey starting off with, you know, still the most consistent turn 1 play of any deck.
Yeah, that's great. I guess, again, it gets hand destruction. That's great. You know, you want to keep that hand big. And I'll tell you what, Trey played very well last game. You know, Trey did do everything he was supposed to do at the right time. There's a Broly.
Broly coming out immediately. Let's see if we get the whiff. Because, you know, as we said,
Very unlikely to get that whiff on turn 1.
He's got the 1 drop.
Yeah. That's the base case. The best case scenario for Rolando as well. You know, when I'm playing hand destruction, I always like to go. You know, if I play my Broly on turn 1, I always like to go get another Broly just in case something happens, right? Just in case they put pressure on it and find a way to kill it. I have the backup ready to go.
No, we don't currently have the numbers for the rest of the tournaments for how many people have signed up.
We don't, but we do have a bracket that was created by Max, and I will put that bracket up after this match. We'll go over the bracket. But he has a challenge bracket with a live updating of like whenever people win or lose, you'll be able to follow that bracket live.
Okay.
So we'll definitely get that up again as soon as this match is over. All right, here we go. Trey's gonna put a little pressure on Rolando, take him to 7.
See, but the problem is the more pressure he puts, the more chances that, you know, Rolando's going to go ahead and draw into those hand hate cards. And it's just like, is it really worth it to do early game aggression?
I think so. I mean, because again, I mean, like what Trey's doing now is perfect. Because like the big thing you have to realize about hand destruction, playing against hand destruction, is that your board is your second hand, but it's a safer hand. And so what I mean by that is like, you know, Trey has played Boo, Boo, Goku. Okay, those are 3 extra cards he essentially has, but they're on the battlefield, and it's a lot harder for Rolando to interact with the cards on the field than it is for him to interact with the cards in his hands. So very important when you're playing against hand destruction. Try to get as many of those little guys out as you can. That way you have some help in the mid game.
Absolutely, but again, Kale is a card.
Yeah, sure, Kel is a card. We haven't seen Kel in Rolando's deck yet, though.
Bringing out the Salient Vegeta.
Yeah, attacking in for 15,000.
Wants that critical damage in, and that's honestly what he's going to have to do. He's going to have to side in as much critical as he has in the side deck and just hope that he can ping his opponent enough to be relevant with it.
Okay. Trey giving his opponent a chance to make sure you don't want to crush your ball or anything like that. Oh, and he gets a piece of the Broly combo off of that. That's really, really big.
-1 Broly.
Mm-hmm.
We did see the Bio Broly come into hand off the search from the second Broly, so we know that he's got a Broly in hand. Once he hits 4 energy is when the hand destruction will start, unless, you know, he goes ahead and there it is. I was literally about to say, unless he's got the absorption right now. And
Trey deciding to pitch a Gohan. Interesting. I feel like that's one of the best cards in the matchup.
And a Bean.
It's possible that he does have Kel in hand. If he does, that would be devastating this turn. Killing both Brolys and a Boo. Oh my goodness.
That's really how you're going to shut
him down. He does
down.
have the Kel in hand. I see it. Is it time for my girl to come out?
I mean,
Trey's thinking a little bit.
He needs another green.
I feel like, yeah.
He needs another green. So
but there's no way he pitches the Gohan and doesn't have another green in hand, right? Trey knows this is like such a good play because he gets to clear his board, draw a card, and do critical damage. It's a big deal. He doesn't have another green in hand.
Prince of Speed
He doesn't. Oh no, Trey! Why did you pitch the Gohan?
I would have
charging
Kel
the Kel down. Oh my gosh.
That could have been
devastating.
A very big deal.
That could have been a huge turn for Trey. I think Trey kind of maybe realized he might have messed up a little bit. 15,000 into 10,000. Gonna take that crit. Rolando down to 5.
Now he's gonna have to try and search out another Kale and hope that he can get it out before the.
I mean, now he's very, very, very vulnerable to. Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, Rolando's down to 4. I forgot he did use his ability on the cell absorption.
Yep.
Gonna awaken, draw 2. I hate to say it, I think that might have been a game-losing mistake by Trey.
And
there's the evolve. There's his hand.
Yep.
Now remember, Trey's still not out of this.
True.
He's still in a good spot. I mean, not in a good spot, but he's still in a spot where he can still top deck results and get a hand back.
It's still survivable. Immediately charging the Sensu Bean.
Yeah, just drawing Sensu Bean and immediately charging. Passing turn. Rolando has to feel pretty good about this. He has a whole giant hand of cards right now. Already won the game 1. Top 32. Largest Dragon Ball Super event to date.
Thank you.
I know. I got you.
Thank you. That's a big deal that you just said that.
Killing the Goku. All right, so 15,000 to 10,000 critical damage.
Ooh, boost attack.
Yeah, not a huge deal right now. It's a lot worse if it was like results.
Another Sensu Bean charge. Jeez. Trey's just not getting the answers he needs. That misplay.
Yeah, I'm not sure I agree with Trey playing that card out either.
At the same time, not knowing what his opponent's hand, and his opponent's got a big hand, it's like, I might as well because it's possibly gone next turn anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, I'd probably much rather discard it. Because if you're at 5 energy, right, and your plan right now is you have to get results. So if you just discard it, like you might bait some discard out of your opponent. That way, when you do results and like, or if you can awaken and start drawing more cards, you have better card quality. All right, 15,000 into 10,000.
Critical. He's gonna go ahead and take it. Another Boogon.
Yeah, down to 6.
Third Boo coming out for Rolando.
Yeah, Rolando just has such
His
a
deck's
board presence.
very consistent.
It's very consistent. Oh yeah.
Did
There's
you get
4.
it? Nope.
Go
Popping
on.
you gotta pop the
Well, Cold Ballas.
I was gonna say you go for the little Broly. You don't go for the big Broly.
I'd probably actually go for the big bro. I would kill a 20,000 double striker.
You know what neither one of us realized?
What's?
That Kale play wouldn't have mattered. Rolando's got 2 Bloodlusts in hand.
Oh, of course. No, I mean,
So-
I understand. No. I get that, but you still, I mean, like Trey doesn't know that, right? You still have to play into
you
that.
still
Like,
gotta
right?
play into it,
It's still
but-
much better than like energy pass.
Result would have been exactly the same. So. Wow.
Right? And
another
in the
critical
grand
Gohan.
scheme of things, sure, but like. All right.
That's the 4th Majin Buu going
Trey
to the
going
drop.
5.
There's the Prince of Speed.
He's like, do you
Hopefully-
have it?
He's like,
No.
please.
Yes, you do have
He's
it.
like, please.
Trey just wanting something to happen here.
Trey's in just pure top deck mode, trying to rely on just ripping whatever he can from that deck, and it's a literal heart of the cards moment. A literal heart of the cards, and it's just his deck shutting down on him because of the hand destruction.
Yeah, I mean that's the great thing about hand destruction. I mean, it literally it takes cards out of your hands. This game is a lot about card advantage. And I've heard a lot of players say they dislike playing. They dislike being in a situation where they have to like fight through combo cards. Like if you're that type of player, the hand destruction's for you, because then your opponent has no cards in hand.
Pulling the big Broly off of the search. He hasn't whiffed a single one of those so far in game 2. He's hit.
Well, I mean,
he's hit
honestly,
it every time.
there's kind of a low chance. I mean, as many cards as he's drawing from Boo and Goku's and his leader ability, it's actually pretty unlikely that he's going to whiff if he doesn't have any Broly's in hand, which he didn't.
So, Dusty, what you're saying is deck thinning is deck winning.
I'm not saying that. No one ever says that.
I say it. It's a Scotchyism. And it's true. He's thinning out his deck and he's not whiffing.
Right. And building a little bit of board presence. I mean, traditionally that's been kind of what the hand destruction decks have lacked. But Rolando's showing not now.
Absolutely.
Not
and,
Rolando. We have board presence here.
Trey's just praying for either his opponent to attack him so that he can awaken, or just praying for the results.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know Trey's sideboard very well, but I know we talked a little bit about the deck. But I think that's what Trey really kind of needs, maybe in sideboard for this matchup, is just put in 2 more results and just really try to make sure you draw one.
But again, as we saw last time, he used results with 8 life, and it just didn't really help.
Oh no, I mean I understand. No, I mean like I said, this matchup is still favored to the hand destruction. Now we said that at the start of the match, but he was in a lot better shape last game when he resulted than this game when he's just in talk deck mode since turn 5.
He does have a bit of a board presence, but the question's really going to be is if he survives this, what can he potentially do next turn? Like, Prince of Speed is the biggest card in his deck. So what's the
It's probably going to be a crusher ball. There's crusher
He's gonna
ball.
ball it.
Trey just not able to get going. He can't pick up steam. Every time he gets a little bit, something started, Rolando just shuts it down. 20,000 into the leader. So 20,000 to 15,000, Trey hoping to. Actually, Rolando's just going to take it. So you know what? I think I'm in a good spot here. I'm just going to take these 2 cards. I don't think you can beat me here.
Like, I can't think of another hand destruction deck that has a board presence like this. Can you? Like, double Gohan, double
It's
Broly.
very good. No, it's very, very good. What I expect Rolando to do here is actually, he's going to try to bait Trey in Awakening here and then use his cell absorption he just draw to take those cards away. We're going to see what happens here, though.
Bringing out the 3rd Broly. Let's see if he's 4 for 4 this game. And it looks like he is 4 for 4.
Nice.
So.
Even gets a hand destruction card out of it. Very good.
I assume he's going to push in with either his leader or one of the Gohans.
Well, I think he wants to do 1 damage here. That's what he really wants to do. He wants to attack with 1 damage. He'll probably attack with his Mecha Frieza because he needs that card draw anyway. Actually, what he could do is just attack in with one of his critical threats.
Yeah, that's what I'm
and
saying.
then attack in with like a his leader to make him awaken.
I think it's more likely that he's going to swing in with the critical.
Absolutely. Yeah, he'll attack in here with the critical, knock him to 4. Trey will gladly take that damage, and then he'll swing in with his leader probably, force the awaken, and then just discard the 2 cards he draws.
That's an intimidating board to stare down, though.
Oh, yes.
Sitting there
absolutely.
being like, ugh.
Rolando with a lot of options, though. Has it into actually a surprising amount of plays right here.
Small novel in hand.
Yeah, a small novel.
Looks like 9 cards.
Attacking with the double strike.
Okay. So he's going to go ahead and swing it to give the 2 cards, which tells me he's either got double absorption or absorption and
He's just
Broly.
not worried about the awaken, I think. Trey saying, okay, I'll combo.
He's going to need more.
Yeah, he's at 20 right now, 20 to 20.
He needs 5 more.
Oh, and a little mix-up by Trey. It looks like he maybe thought he was awakened.
He possibly thought he was awakened, but now we're going to see either Broly come out or an absorption, and it is the Broly.
Yeah. Rolando's saying, you know what, I'm going to attack you here. Critical. 15 to 10. Let you awaken.
Dropping a bean on it.
Has 2 Dodoras in hand as well. Yeah, he actually has the ability to ready enough energy to make him discard 2 more cards as well. This is such a sick play by Rolando. He's actually, what he's going to do here is he's going to knock him to 2 and then discard the 2 cards he draws off the awaken and then kill him.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very one-sided matchup.
Oh yeah, again, we talked about at the beginning of the match. It's for sure one-sided matchup. Nothing that Trey's doing inherently wrong. It's just sometimes you get a bad matchup.
And there's
Trey
the
knows.
concede.
There's the concede.
Rolando goes 2-0, moving into top 16.
Yeah, pretty big deal, guys. I mean, again, I talked a lot about it, in some of the stuff I talked about before Rolando, and I said that, hand destruction is a big deal in the meta. It's very good against a lot of the decks that are currently played, but even better, it's good against the decks that want to, prey on the Cell decks and the prey on the Ginyu decks. And so, here we see it, the same thing. Trey got this far, with his deck because he played against the decks that he built his deck to be against.
Yep.
Soul Striker Goku, I've been the champion of that deck for a long time. I love that deck. I think it's amazing. However, it does struggle against hand destruction. I don't think either me or Trey expected this type of powerful hand destruction to make it into the top 32. I mean, when I think of hand destruction, I don't think of my opponent having 12 cards out on the field and I have no hands. You know what I mean? It's pretty devastating. It really is.